Hello, I'm Ross from Britain's Hidden History, and welcome back for another little bite-sized glimpse into Britain's hidden history. Just something to watch over your little coffee break, well-earned break. Now, I'm sorry for the gap in videos. I'm working extremely hard in getting Wilson and Blackett's book, Britain's Hidden Christianity, out in the next week or two. I keep promising people, and one of the things I've done is visit a couple of the sites mentioned to get some extra photographs. Got Tim, Bob and Steve helping me just get this out the door. And one of the stories in the book is how Jesus, when he came to Britain, built an altar. And the story goes that when St. David's came along a few hundred years later, he was going to move this altar, but he slept on it, had a dream, and decided, no, he can't move it because it's been built by the Lord. And he encased it in lead. And we're trying to track down where the altar is. It's said to be near Llanthony. And it's Llanthony Abbey or Priory, you hear more about that, which we went to visit, which is a stunning place to visit. But everyone looks at the beautiful Norman remains, these huge high vaulted archways. But the bit we're looking at, as you'll see, is a little bit around the back where you can see St. David's Church and then the ruins of what they call the ancient cells, which is good evidence there for there having been much more ancient British Christian presence, which we would argue, the book would argue, goes all the way back to the 1st century. So we're just looking on the back at these ruins, which is the bit we're interested in. And Bob's going to say a little bit about them. Oh, hang on, just put that back to there.
The 500s, yeah. Yeah, so what was the bit that was active in the 500s? That's what we need to work out.
Well, I'm looking at, you got this area here. They've actually gone up the hill for some reason, slightly, rather than starting at the top of the hill and coming down. So there's a reason for that as well, I'm sure. But my bet is anything you're looking for is going to be down through that doorway or window there.
It makes sense, wouldn't it? We've also got to try the woods.
Hi boys.
Morning.
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 Yeah.
You good? You well?
And then we did the classic thing, ask a farmer. We got chatting to him, very friendly, really well informed, as you'll see. I just want to apologise, I did not ask his name. If anyone knows, please let me know. He deserves credit, very knowledgeable. I want to put him on the video. So have a look what he has to say about this little bit.
That little arch, well, there's a drain underneath, all these places had water running through, didn't they? So they could chuck the slops and all the muck in, goes down to the village, so there's about a 2-foot-6, 3-foot tunnel, come under there, goes down the side of the road down to the village. And it comes under the church, so it would have gone under the abbey, come from the stream at the top, come down the field, through the abbey, through the church, because this end of that was the old chapel, this end of the church, got a fireplace this end, so that's probably used as part of the infirmary, come round there, underneath here, and then down to the river.
And you say that the far end is the oldest part of it?
Yeah. The far end is the chapel part,
So this been a bit of St. David, was that, do you think, then, back in the day?
Well, St. David's cell. I don't know how many there are in Wales, but he is said to have had a cell here, and of course that's where the knight who wanted to found the monastery came here and wanted to retire.
Is there anything about the story about him building an altar? David building an altar here? Well, he's supposed to want to build an altar, but it was where, the story is that Jesus is supposed to have built an altar.
Yeah.
And David's going to move it. And then he thought he shouldn't move it because obviously it's built by the hands of the Lord.
Right.
Therefore he's going to put a lead casing over it.
I don't know about
Tell
that.
me about that story.
I know that when de Lacy arrived here, the knight, and of course he would have come over with Norman the Conqueror, wouldn't he, as a young knight. So when he got here, he found what was the cell of St. David, and they reckon that he did his penance. I suppose they all used to go soldiering and chopping people's heads off, and then did their
Doing
penance
some bad things,
for a bit of forgiveness, so they could go upstairs.
So was that Sir Galais?
No,
de Lacy's. They built the abbey.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But obviously on a much more ancient site, isn't it?
This site was huge. absolutely huge. It's as big as any site in Wales.
whole-
All the field up round the back. Yeah, the old wall that goes down the back, that was the gatehouse. You imagine the size of the gatehouse, you then just imagine how big the rest of the site was.
Wow.
There was all the fields out the back, there's walls, unclaimed walls, the dovecot round the corner. You seen the dovecot?
No,
Just walk round the corner, there's the dovecot there. Yeah, it's a massive site.
So the de Lacys, were they Knights Hospitaller? Or not?
Pass.
Yeah.
So like, there's something like a massive farm set up then, was it? I mean, were they making anything as well? Do you have any produce?
No, because it was a priory and not an abbey. We all call it the abbey. It was a priory, so they were canons and friars.
Yeah.
So think Friar Tuck in Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Canons and friars went out into the community and did baptisms and weddings and funerals. So they weren't like monks running a farm, if you like.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So what was all the land for then? They must have been growing food and stuff, were they? Or?
Yeah, well they must have. But and they used, they reckon they went up, there's a path where they went over to Langorse Lake for fish, and
Right.
huge area they covered.
Nice place to live, isn't it?
There you are. Yeah, and all the building materials had come out the hill. There would have been oak trees here, you know, slates off the hill.
Everything you
It was
want
all
to.
here, and the place, you know.
And it's secluded, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a secluded den in
Yeah,
valley,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
There's only one place, one way in or out, isn't there, really?
yeah,
And you've got these amazing cairns up on the top of the hills there, haven't they?
yeah.
Have you ever thought about those?
Well, they're prehistoric, aren't they?
They're pretty old,
You've
yeah.
got prehistoric, because I mean, people would have originally been running around on these hills, wouldn't they, throwing spears at horses.
Checking all these
But
stones with
you've
each
got the
other.
Gairs, haven't you? You've got all the little hill forts, which is Roman. And
Well, everything's Roman, yeah. We'd maybe dispute that, but
those.
could be British, couldn't
Well,
it?
they'd have been there before the Romans, so those
exactly,
hill
yeah.
forts would have been they're kind of
Exactly, yeah.
Iron Age. Yeah. So it's
Oh, nice
right,
to meet you.
there
Thank
you
you.
are,
Thanks
boys.
for your help.
So there you go, a little bit of countryside, and I got some stunning things to show. Beautiful. Went to Ynys as well, where Jesus is said to be buried, and beautiful weather, stunning shots. So just uplifted spirits, uplifted my spirits. Got a bit of sun on my face, got my vitamin D. Been out there speaking to people, and life is continuing as normal. All right, so hope you enjoyed that, and get another one up as soon as possible. Hopefully tomorrow. Okay, so until the next time, Heddwch.